the struggle continues. And it's a victorious struggle. But where and when do you enter? When do you destroy the negroness that has been instilled in your body, mind, and your soul and tap into Africanness? Where and when do you transform yourself into the Harriet Tubmans of the 21st century? Where and when do you become the Malcolm X's of the 21st century? You've got to make that decision. We can provide you with data and information, images that will help you make a decision, but you've got to make a decision. You've got to go home to your churches, to your communal organizations, to your fraternities, to your social groups, to your community centers, and become a witness to this African struggle. You've got to make a decision. We've made ours. We're here to try to encourage you to make yours. Join us in this victorious path. In order for you to understand how I operate and operate spiritually, I always have the libation, and since we're about something important, each of us entering a new phase of importance for black folks because we're 5 years before the 21st century, a new era. We can't march into the 21st century with this negroness that has plagued us lo these many years. It was a survival process. It got us this far. Now we know what true Africanness is. We've got to shed the Negro and move into Africanness. I know it's rough, and I know you all don't want to do it, but we're going to have to yank you in there. Jesus was African. When we talk about Jesus, we talk about an African Jesus. When we talk about God, Allah, we talk about an African God, Allah. When we talk about the saints and the people of significance, we need to have sainthood for Malcolm, as they're talking about Imani Temple doing. Sainthood for King, as sainthood for Harriet Tubman. People who've given their life in the struggle for your people. So you've got to reform, transform, resurrect. It's got to happen with you. You've got to change your socialization process, and then it can happen with the people around you. So as I said, I don't do anything unless I have the libation, and since I want you to move into a new period of your growth and development, I know I'm moving into mine. I want you to be with me with the libation. Africans, before everything important, they have the libation. Very simple, acknowledgement of that which went before you, calling upon the God force of the universe to encourage you and strengthen you as you go forth to do your work. Because we all have to have, as the title of the Albany speech has been designated by our national organization, ASCAC, Association for the Study of Classical African Civilizations, as our sacred mission. Because I'm always talking about our sacred mission. Each of us has to develop a sacred mission. Every generation has to make its contribution. Every individual has to make his decision or her decision where they're going to contribute to the sacred mission. And as we develop this concept of sacred mission, we need to know from whence we came. What is the global context and cosmic context that we're dealing with? Because we're not alone. The same spirit force that has driven me to do what I'm doing and stand forth, and Dr. Khalid and Dr. Tony Martin, Dr. Francis Chris Wells, and a whole host of others. Dr. Pat Newton is somewhere here. The same spirit force that moves us, my wife, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, is the tapping into this understanding. Tapping into it and making it real. So in the African communal cooperative sense, when the water is poured to the ground, everybody participates. You acknowledge the ancestral realm that's being called upon, the God force that's being called upon, by participating, acknowledging it. Ashe in the Yoruba language. Or Yao in the Akan language. Or Hotep in the language of the Africans of the Nile. Or any other language that you may be familiar with. But let's not sit there like Negroes from Washington without anything to say. In the name of the Africans who began the march of humankind in the womb of Mother Africa, who marched down the Nile with their culture and their ideas, their values and their principles, and raised the pyramids and temples to their God concepts, we ask these Africans and the God Almighty force of this universe, Allah, to be with us, to strengthen us and give us a vision for the future. In the name of the Africans who began the march of humankind in the womb of Mother Africa, Great Lakes region, and established that enormous civilizing belt called the Nile Valley, raising their pyramids and their temples to their God concepts, laying the foundations for mathematics, science, and medicine, laying the foundations for statecraft, philosophy, and morality and ethics, laying the foundations for high philosophical wisdom and thought, writing the first books of knowledge, the first wisdom books, the first mathematical books, the first medical books. We ask these Africans who left us this enormous tradition of achievement to be with us, to strengthen us, and give us a vision for the future. We ask these Africans whose names we know, the great pharaoh Zoser and his queen, and their partner Imhotep, who became the father of medicine for the Greeks. The Greeks worshipped a living African, vizier, prime minister of the Kemet, Imhotep. 2,000 years before Hippocrates, the Greeks had a god of medicine, a living African. And isn't it ironic, 2,000 years after Hippocrates, black folk at Howard University and other places are worshiping the Greeks when the Greeks worship the Africans. We ask these Africans who laid this enormous foundation of culture and civilization to be with us, to strengthen us, and give us a vision for the future. Africans who built the great pyramid temple complex in Giza, the family of Khufu and his queen, Khafra and his queen, Menkaure and his queen, father, son, and grandson. We ask these Africans who left us the greatest buildings of the ancient world to be with us, to strengthen us, and give us a vision for the future. And even though white folks have said that all of these great buildings of the Nile were somehow built by people from outer space who happen to be white with red hair, we know the truth and the scientific information is that Africans built these enormous structures, building for eternity, building for the resurrection principle, building for us to have monuments to glorify Him in these deep values and principles that they represent. We ask these Africans who laid this foundation that has inspired the world to be with us, to strengthen us, and give us a vision for the future. We ask the Africans who inspired the Pharaoh Akhenaten and his mother, the Madonna, Queen T. We ask these Africans who inspired Akhenaten to become a resurrected Savior, to raise anew the concept of the oneness of God, to build a new city of God, Tel Amarna, and to give his life in the struggle for what he believed as these high principles. We ask these Africans who inspired Akhenaten and his mother, who inspired his father, the great king, Pharaoh, Amenhotep III, who built the great Lodge of Luxor, expanded it, the greatest building of the ancient world, the Waset Temple, and so-called Luxor today. The African father of Akhenaten, the African mother of Akhenaten, and Akhenaten himself. That family produced King Tut, and in marrying into it was Nefertiti. This great family of Africans on the throne of the greatest power of the ancient world, 1400 BC, before the Europeans could read or write, before the Europeans had a state or nation that they could govern, Africans left this enormous legacy of achievement for us. We ask this great African family, the symbol of African resurrection and greatness, to be with us, to strengthen us, and give us a vision for the future. Africans who took this culture of greatness, this culture of spirituality, this culture of deep philosophical thought, this culture of values, and spread it throughout Africa, going south into the great stone cities of Zimbabwe. 2,200 sites of stone cities in Zimbabwe. The great Zimbabwe ruins, probably the seat of a great temple like the Karnak Temple Complex and the Waset Temple Complex. Africans who took this knowledge and went along the coast of Africa and built Swahili culture and civilization, blending African traditional knowledge with Islam to produce a great civilizing force on the east coast of Africa. Africans who took this knowledge, African traditions, and the new Christian consciousness and went into the highlands of Ethiopia, and with King Lalibela, in his Coptic Christian inspiration, building 12 stone churches from the ground down, wonders of the world, the New Jerusalem. Africans who took this knowledge of African traditional values and went into West Africa and helped lay the foundation for the great city-state empires of Ghana, Mali, and Songhai, using African traditional belief systems and Islam as the center of focus. And along the coast of Africa, the great cultures and civilizations of the Beni and the Yoruba, of the Akan, of the Dogon, of the Bakongo, those places along the coast of Africa in which our people were pulled out to the hells of North America and South America and the Caribbean. Africa is maintaining this tradition of greatness, building for eternity around these values of spirituality. We ask these Africans to be with us, to strengthen us, and give us a vision for the future. We ask those Africans who opened up Africa to other people from out of Africa. Early on, coming in were the ancient Hebrews, marching in, walking in, from the area we now call Palestine, and meeting this African culture and civilization, and producing a synthesis that becomes Judaism. Later, the ancient Greeks march in, sitting at the feet of Africans, learning mathematics, science, philosophy, and those things we attribute to the Greeks. producing a synthesis once meeting African culture that becomes Greek civilization. And the first Christian nation comes as a result of a synthesis of African cultural traditions, as our brother Kwesi was showing us clearly in his demonstration yesterday. Egypt, Ethiopia, the first Christian nation, not Greece, not Rome, not Germany, not France, not Italy. Egypt, Ethiopia, the first Christian nations. And then later the Prophet Muhammad stretched forth his hands into Ethiopia, and Ethiopia stretched forth her hands. And the Prophet was able to come up with a synthesis that became Islam, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Greek civilization, coming out of the African traditions laid down for eternity by our ancestors. We ask these ancestors who opened up their heart and their genius to others to be with us, to strengthen up and open up their hearts to us as we march into the 21st century. We ask those Africans pulled out of Africa into the hells of North America. Africans yanked out of their villages, torn out of their villages and away from their families, pulled into the dungeon fort concentration camps along the coast of Africa. 50 to 60 sites still existing along the coast of Africa. Our Holocaust memorials still existing. We don't have to spend millions of dollars to build Holocaust memorials. They are there along the coast of Africa. They're there in Gorée Island. They're there in James Island where Kunta Kinte was pulled out of. They're there in Bunce Island in Sierra Leone. They're there along the coast of Ghana, 40 sites along the coast of Ghana from Elmina to Cape Coast. Dungeons, prison camps for our people. They're there in Nigeria. They're there in Rwanda, Angola. They're there all around to Fort Jesus in Mombasa, Kenya. African Holocaust memorials that we have to make spiritual centers of healing for our people as they were pulled out of Africa, waiting in the night for those prison ships to come to take them through that Middle Passage. Africans who gave their life in struggle in the Middle Passes, as they struggled out of their villages, as they struggled in the holes of those slave dungeons. Millions, tens of millions Africans lost. The 100+ million Africans lost speak to us and tell us to get ready for the 21st century. We ask these Africans who are telling us not to forget, never and never and never again. We ask these Africans to be with us, to strengthen us, and give us a vision for the future. We ask these Africans who went up into the highlands of Brazil and established the first free republic in the Americas, the Republic of Palmares that Brother Tony talked about, symbolized by their last great king, Zumbi, who gave his life with the others rather than be taken back into enslavement. But for 100 years, these brothers held together a community of tens of thousands of black folks in Brazil. It's not in the history books. We got to put it in the history books. We ask those Africans who went into the highlands of Jamaica and the other islands of the Caribbean and laid down a tradition of struggle and resistance and Africanizing in the maroon communities. We ask these Africans who left us this enormous tradition of struggle to be with us, to strengthen us. We ask those Africans who went into the backwoods of Florida and Georgia and bonded with the Seminole Indians to produce a tradition of struggle, the great Seminole Indian Wars, as they fought for freedom in these Americas, maintaining a struggle with the indigenous people. We ask those Africans who came together behind Boukman and Dessalines and Bacchanal and joined in the great struggle in the Haitian Revolution, the greatest land-based slave revolt in the history of the world, Haiti. We ask these Africans who left us this enormous tradition of struggle and resistance to be with us, to strengthen us, and give us a vision for the future. Africans have understood this tradition of struggle and have tapped into it, and they have produced the great slave revolts in America, the Prosser Rebellion, the Vesey Rebellion, the Nat Turner Rebellion. Africans who understood this tradition of resistance and left us with the spirit undoubtable in terms of struggle of a Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth. Africans, your great-grandparents and mine, who fled the slave rebellion, fled the slave conditions and revolted or established a runaway railroad called the Underground Railroad, a great tribute to our ability to ingeniously fight against our oppression. Africans down to our present day, your great-grandparents and mine, the Malcolm X, the Marcus Garveys, the Fannie Lou Hamers, the Ida B. Wells, the Martin Kings, the Kwame Nkrumahs, the Sekou Touré's, the Patrice Lumumba. Africans who have left us this enormous legacy of resistance and triumph against a system of oppression. We ask these Africans to be with us, to strengthen us, and give us the courage and the vision to go forth into the 21st century, and we do this for African youth everywhere on planet Earth.